Greetings, you've landed at the VUC, IP Communications and VoIP community. We would like to thank Simwood.com for their support. Simwood can turn you as a developer into a telco. Our hosted PBX is from onsip.com, and you can go to getonsip.com for a URL people can click to call you. We've been privileged over the last 5 years to be using the best conference bridge on the planet. Yes, I'm talking about zipdx.com, full color, full featured, full HD conference bridge. Our website, vuc.me on the webs, hosted by bluehost.com. And our worldwide local rate dial-ins are from voxbone.com. All right, and we'll be back in a moment. No, we'll be back in 10 seconds. Let's see. Here we go, right here. So this is VUC 595. Our planned guests, we had some setup problems, so we'll have them in a couple of weeks. But we do have the illustrious Andy Smith, James Bodie, Michael Graves, Tim Panton with us, and whoever else is around. I see Jay Carpenter, although he seems to have left the chat room, but he'll be back. So we're going to open it up, but we could actually just make a couple of sentences on Kamailio World, because I think we have lots of positive impressions of it. If I let James talk, he'll talk a long time, so no, he won't. And we can talk about the French airstrike. James, how was Kamailio World?
Kamailio World was wonderful as ever. Without a doubt, it is the best open source developer event outside of the US, I think. And everybody who is anybody in the real-time communications world, just about, was there.
I think it's telling to the max that people like David Duffett, Matt Jordan, people come from the United States, and boy, they are not used to traveling that long usually. So,
and even members of the Free Switch team.
Absolutely, William King.
Free Switch team definitely do not travel long distance, and that's why ClueCon takes place in Chicago first week in August, basically because they don't travel.
Right. Yeah, we won't see Anthony over here anytime soon, but we did have Free Switch. We had Digium Enforce. Let's see, Matt. There was the other Matt. Matt, help me out here.
Fredrickson.
Thank you.
And David Duffett.
And David Duffett.
And we have James Tagg.
James Tagg. Can you ask James if he's coming next week? Okay.
James, are you able to appear on the VUC next week?
Yes.
On IoT.
Yes, that is a positive.
Excellent. You heard it here first, folks. James Tagg will be with us. We'll be talking about AI, IoT, and any other acronyms we can make up between now and then. Tim, you want to chime in on Kamailio World and say how great we all think it is? Well, you were great. You were excellent.
Only because I had a piano player. Yeah, no, it was fun. Always a good crowd. Smart people. Daniel does a brilliant job of getting together a really good group of people, and not all of them the obvious group. The people from Fraunhofer who really know about 5G, the LTE folks who don't go to some of the other VoIP conferences, that pulling in that side, and then the guys from Wire who actually didn't speak but paid us a visit, and we went and had a chat with them and that kind of stuff. So interesting. Pulling together a bit more of kind of the edges of this community than you would normally see at an Astracon or even a ClueCon, which I thought was great. I did actually really enjoy it. It's really good to see people, but also to meet totally new people and talk to people about things I knew nothing about, which is great.
You know, if I would have known we were going to talk about this, I would have invited Keith Milner, who I met for the first time. I've known him online for a while, and you guys met him. We really need to find a way to get Michael over there one of these years, because it's just such a fun event and so low friction as far as enjoying yourself compared to a lot of these conferences. There's very, very little commerciality going on. I'm sure somebody's giving away business cards, but there's no pressure on that level at all. Yeah, James did. I did too, actually, but probably not enough.
But I think what's interesting is that actually it's a, with some notable exceptions, myself included, it's a group of people who are successful in what they're doing, sharing knowledge.
Does that mean you're not successful?
Well, at the moment, no, because I'm starting something.
Oh, okay.
You know, I by definition, I haven't succeeded at it yet. I may do, but you know. But generally, the people there who really know what they're doing, they've got businesses that run well and are well constructed, and in general. And I thought that was, you know, that again makes it an interesting crowd compared with my normal kind of going to startup things where maybe the business isn't quite as well founded often. So I think that's also interesting. Quite a good crowd.
It's kind of interesting too that you have, for example, one-on-one, which to me seems like it would be a pretty big company. I don't know, maybe it isn't, but they're the number one hosting people for years, and now they've been doing VoIP for a long time.
Yeah, Eins und Eins in Germany are absolutely enormous. I mean, they have.
Did they say Eins?
Eins und Eins. Yeah, well, they're German, aren't they?
Oh yeah, so they are. Eins und Eins.
And are they the biggest ISP?
They're huge.
Or second largest to Deutsche Telekom, because all the old people just have Deutsche Telekom, don't they? But all the young, hip people all have Eins und Eins, clearly.
And there was a gentleman there from Orange, who's actually he's Italian, but he was apparently from.
Well, that was Giacomo, and there were two of them.
Two of them, okay, yeah.
And Giacomo used to work for us, actually.
The Italians were there in force, huh?
Well, they're not so much Italian as Sardinian.
Ah, right. There was the two Lorenzos.
Two Lorenzos, yeah. One of whom won a Dangerous Demo Prize.
Two Lorenzos and a Celeste.
Celeste, yes. The
She
lovely Celeste.
Zoa was there. Zoa is one of those names that you would have seen on IRC way back in the day. And maybe he's still on IRC, I don't know. So Zoiper, Mira was there.
The incredibly lovely Mira.
She's sweet.
And I can't erase the image of Mira wearing her Zoiper female T-shirt thing.
I have to say that Mira amused me immensely she did an article, a Facebook post this week about how to prepare for doing a conference.
Yeah, I saw.
And it was glorious. It's a nice piece, and you should read it anyway if you're nervous about pitching. But she made a wonderful error. She mistyped slot for sloth. So she talks about how important it is to be prepared for your sloth, which I think is great. It's important to cultivate your.
Didn't you tell her privately that she made a typo? Probably to correct her.
So see, the trouble is I misread it as clothes, and didn't bother about it. I just thought, clothes, and didn't really think. And somebody else put picture up on it. I don't know who. And now there's an amusing thread about how she really meant sloth, and a picture of a sloth eating whatever leaves they eat and this kind of stuff. So, but yeah, no, it's a nice piece about how to present to an audience like that, and how to keep them on their toes.
They have a good team there, though. I don't know the name.
Keep them on their toes. Is that a three
throws?
Exactly, or dangling from them, indeed.
Nice.
Yeah.
James, who are
keeping us on our toes? That Mr. Johansson was there shouting at us and telling us that we've all been bad.
He was sniping at people, wasn't he?
I should have invited him. Well, I didn't know that we were going to have this open talk. Also, who are the other two gentlemen that are with Zoa and Mira? Because I don't know their names.
Ivo and Ivan.
There's not Alexander. Who is he with? Oh, that's.
He's Homer.
Right. All right. Sorry. So Ivo and Ivan.
Ukrainian, but he's actually a Moldavian.
Yeah.
We won't hold that against him.
No, we won't.
And
really
our friends from Friendly Scanner were there.
Sandro. Yeah,
yes.
Even though we frightened him and he ran away and hid during the dangerous demos because he didn't want to do one. And then as soon as they were over, he reappeared again. Did you note that?
And with any luck, I will be resplendent in the Sip Vicious T-shirt next week, maybe.
I didn't get one of those, but then
Well, I
again,
didn't get one. I had to buy it. I should put the link. Find the link. Yeah. Ah, what happened? I got to see an email going by. Oh, okay. Where would I find the link? Let's see if you just Sip Vicious. How do you spell vicious? V-I-C? Look at this.
yes, SIP.
Yeah, no, Google filled it in. T-shirt.
Yeah.
I'm going to find the link and put it here.
So whilst you're finding that link, Tim, out of all the presentations that we saw during Kamailio, which one would you rate as your favorite, your number one presentation? Tim, wake up, you're muted.
I'm actually thinking.
He's not muted. He's preparing for his sloth.
You're not allowed to
exactly. My sloth is
Well, if you want to think about it, I'll ask Andy. Andy, wake up. Turn your camera.
Andy has his attention elsewhere apparently.
Oh, really? Oh, you'll be out in the garden.
I'm showing you the Sip Vicious T-shirt design, though.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? In fact,
it is. It's a great T-shirt.
Sandro is a pretty cool guy, and I committed the unforgivable sin of accusing him of being Italian because he's not. He's Maltese.
You know that I didn't know that. But does he live? Here's the T-shirts, and you can get Hey, look at this coffee cup. I'm going to just grab.
Oh, that's an awesome coffee cup. Oh, I'm in.
They're pretty brilliant, those, aren't they?
It is. Let's see if we can put this.
I tell you what, I want a Sip Vicious helmet cover for my Dangerous Demo helmet.
Let me. Here's.
In fact,
shop.spreadshirt.net/SipVicious. Let me get rid of me because that's.
Of course, Google corrects me and says it's Sid Vicious.
Yeah.
Which pretty much is actually. I mean,
here it is. So if anybody's interested in ordering such a thing, this is it. It's shop.spreadshirt. Interesting. Shop.spreadshirt.net.
Well, you know what Spreadshirt are? They're a startup company who produce goods to order on a one-off basis.
I didn't know this.
So they don't hold stock.
It's like Cafe Press.
Well, yeah, we have that. We have the VUC stuff at Cafe Press.
And then they just drop ship them. Anyway.
So to answer your question.
Oh yeah, and Tim has now woken up.
Well, no, I've been thinking actually, and I think to be fair, I need to pick something where I learned something. So it's not necessarily the most kind of fantastically elegant presentation or funniest or anything, but I thought that the Fraunhofer one about the 5G test lab was fascinating.
I missed that one.
Oh, well, you see? So very interesting about like what tools they had and what they were expecting from 5G and, you know, how you could mess with it. I mean, it had somewhat too much of a telco mindset.
Was that Professor Thomas or was that somebody else?
Yeah. So I thought that was fascinating. When it was really, I mean, I didn't agree with all of it, and you know, because my viewpoint and his aren't totally aligned. But it was really interesting, and I thought that I learned things that I didn't already know. Whereas some of the other presentations, although they were brilliant, I'd actually seen, you know, say half of Ole Johansson's pitch I'd already seen. So that wasn't, you know, not as much of a surprise for me. Whereas I pretty much hadn't seen any of the Fraunhofer stuff.
Right. And it has to be said that all of the presentations are all on YouTube. And not only are they all there, but they are in incredibly good quality, aren't they, Randy?
Yeah, those people were fantastic, and they got them up very, very quickly. Some of the talks were up the same day. As it happens, there is VUC Visions. It's in our playlist, so you can go to you could go to live.vuc.me and just find the playlist. There's 200 videos in that. Well, wait a minute. Maybe there's only 100 in when you click on that. But whatever the last ones are, you go to our channel. If you look up Kamailio, the channel, you will see those videos as the latest ones. But those folks did a fantastic job. Yeah, he also did a talk, by the way.
Yeah, those folks are. It's Matthias and
Yeah,
his crew from PASCOM.
yeah.
And, you know, Randy, we ought to have them on because
Good
um,
point.
they've got this thing that they call Moby Dick. I remember they were handing out copious quantities of packets of gummy bears.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that came from
Uh,
them?
yes. Not only did they do the
That's
video, but
funny.
they supplied us
They
with
had gummy bears. That's
huge
funny.
piles of gummy bears. In fact, have I got? Is there a surviving gummy bear
I
in
had to throw
my
my
jacket?
last one away because
Oh yeah, I believe you that you threw it
I
away.
did. I did. I swear to you, I threw it away because I've eaten too many of those. Because
In
somebody
fact,
puts that in front of you and then you eat it.
I
You don't
need.
have.
Yeah, no, I've got my jacket of many pockets here, and it's got so many pockets. I don't know which pocket the gummy bears are in, but I need to take some photographs of gummy bears that actually made it away from Berlin, with things like the London Olympic Stadium in the background or Canary Wharf, something like that, so that people can see that the gummy bears did eventually escape from Berlin, because a lot of them didn't, did they, Randy?
No, most of them were in my stomach at the end.
Indeed.
I'm
Anyway, look, Andy's woken up now. So,
oh,
Andy, can you just move your microphone down a bit because it looks a bit ridiculous?
Yeah, but that was to stop me heavy breathing. So
oh.
Yeah, yeah, I am your father.
mm.
So, who did you think delivered the best presentation at
well,
Kamailio World?
again, I think it depends on your viewpoint as to what you think a good presentation is. But if you're looking for the one with the most energy, the most amount
I know
packed
what you're going to say. I know
into
what
a
you're going to
very
say.
short area, yeah, it had to be Lorenzo. What's his surname? Miniero.
Indeed, from Homer.
From
Janice.
yeah.
It was great.
No, not Miniero. I don't mean Miniero. I
Oh,
mean the
you
other
mean
one.
Mandan?
Mancini.
Mangani, yeah.
Yeah, Mancini.
Just think of a Mankini.
Yes, indeed. I'd rather not, if you don't mind. However, yeah, his presentation was full of energy, and he really did get an awful lot into it. So that was the Soma hit
Absolutely.
capture, Homer sit capture lot, or QXIP as they call themselves, quick zip.
And it certainly was quick, and it's a good job that it was videoed in high definition, because what you need to do is to play it back at about half speed and then keep on pausing it to try and absorb the huge amount of information that he was packing in there. It was absolutely awesome, and I was just kind of even more than usual after about 5 minutes of that.
It was certainly very exciting, but the whole of Kamailio World seemed to have a different slant on it this year. There was much more looking at what you might say is 3GPP GSMA stuff, so in terms of IMS.
Yeah, there was a lot more mobile stuff without a doubt. In fact,
but not necessarily in a mobile context. Also in a VoIP context of actually implementing VoIP networks on top of IMS and using diameter to drive all your billing.
Absolutely right. Diameter actually is really useful. Not only does it do the billing, but it does a whole load of the trunk signaling type stuff as well. And not very many people know exactly what it can do. In fact, Randy, whilst he's got his back in a moment thing, but we ought to get the boys from Telestacks on to actually give us a bit of spiel, or somebody who does a lot of diameter stuff to demonstrate some of the more useful stuff within diameter, because it's more than just billing. It's a lot more than just billing.
Yeah, we could. We could definitely do that. I want to mention that Tim wants to say something. He unmuted himself by accident. Let me just remind people that next week we have Mr. JT from Truephone. James Tagg will be with us June 3rd.
So we'll be talking about IoT, M2M, and Timmy will be there, because I'm sure he will want to say lots of things about that.
Yes, he has to be there. Tim, you have reserved your evening, hopefully.
Yep, and I'll try and be in a less noisy environment next week as well.
And the week after that, someone I've never heard of, this Matrix outfit, they're going to do some kind of demo.
Will we have Matthew and Amandine?
Yes. Amandine, no, I don't know. I don't know.
You've got to have Amandine.
She's very difficult to read.
If only if she does the same thing that Yana from Jitsi does, and just
they usually most of the females, James, most of the females ask me if you're going to be there, and if I say yes, they generally decline. But other than that, fine.
You can't
I'm
say
kidding.
that.
Did that mean 5 minutes, Michael?
No, I'm tinkering with cameras.
Oh, okay. I thought you were leaving and going 5, 4.
So we as a side thing, we had a little amusing incident where we went and visited an antique, not an antique, but a probably 25-year-old sign, and watched its progress displaying menus. I don't know if anybody else wants to describe that, because I'm kind of noisy here.
I wish you know what? I took photos of it to use Translate, which miraculously actually worked. But I did not keep a photo of it. How stupid. Don't you think there's a photo of that somewhere on the web? Let me see if I can find it, Tim.
Yeah. So a little bit more explanation. Somebody, Peter, who's actually, was he Swedish or Norwegian or something like that, but living in Berlin, procured,
got somehow. What's the name of the restaurant, somebody, before we go on, so I can search?
I can't remember. Tim?
Tim, you know. Oh, yeah.
Something like Friedel Richter.
Yeah, I'll find it on maybe I can find it on my maps. I think I
it.
reviewed
Anyway,
Go ahead, James.
Yeah, Peter managed to obtain this airport sign from some Flughafen somewhere in the south of Germany. And it's one of these old electromechanical ones that spells up words and things by clattering, and when you rewrite it, it goes and rewrites from left to right. And obviously it does that in a staged way, because if you try and write all of the kind of pixels all at the same time, you probably blow all the fuses. But when it rewrites, it makes the most wonderful electromechanical noise. Very satisfying.
It's a noise that you can used to be able to hear in train stations here in France all the time.
So
not wanting to bring the subject back to dangerous demos again, but we suggested to Peter that he might like to interactively link that up to something which would allow the audience at Kamailio World to send messages to his Flughafen board in the restaurant.
Okay, people, through the miracle of my mastery of internet technology.
Well, that doesn't look that impressive.
Well, you can't. It's because you can't really see.
Make it bigger. Make it bigger.
Well, that's what she said. But let me see if I can do that. There we
go. That's the one.
So I've dropped a better photograph in wire from my phone, but I haven't managed to get it into Hangouts yet.
Yeah, okay. I can get that. I'll get that. Just a second. Well, in fact, let's see. How can I do that? I'll get it, Tim. It's a very good photo.
I've done it. It's there.
Old mechanical signs, right?
There you go.
And it makes the most glorious noise when it changes.
That's what I said.
So it's something like 400 by 150 pixels, or so, it's some tiny number. But anyway, so Peter's
it's much better than my TRS-80 was.
Yeah, the update rate's a bit slower.
Depending on who's programming.
The Philly cheese sandwich with pippa pommes.
Oh, that was good.
You thought it was good? I thought it was.
Did I have that? Yeah.
Yes, you did. You and I had the same thing.
I was too busy looking at your lovely wife, James. I didn't care what I was eating.
You were, and
so
to make things even worse, she got really upset the next day because I dragged her up the TV tower. She was going, "No, I don't want to be here. I want to go to the restaurant with Randy because he's such a cuddly little chap."
That happens to me all the time.
Yeah. And so she was grumpy for the rest of the evening.
I'm not surprised.
And I had to run away and have a couple of pink drinks with Andy just to cheer myself up.
Anyway, that restaurant was very good, and it was fun and a good suggestion. But that it's incredible that they got that board there. And so, what runs that, by the way? What are they running that on? Some kind of a one of those tiny computers? I didn't notice.
So it's got a BeagleBone. It's got a BeagleBone Black and a bunch of custom hardware, because it's all
A clunch of
It's
buses.
for 80 volts or some
Well, yeah. So each of those pixels is an electromagnet.
Yeah.
Um, so each of them takes, I don't know, 28 volts or something to
Right.
flip from one color to the other.
Right. Right. And did Peter do that? Or who figured that
Yeah,
out?
so Peter and his colleague, whose name I've completely forgotten, I'm afraid, figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
And he loves all that really
Yeah.
low-level stuff. It's his stuff. What he does is too low level for me.
Well, he does other things as well. Isn't he intimately involved in the telephony bits and pieces for the CCC?
So he's actually been on the VUC when we did the Burning Man report from Papa
Oh.
Legba. Peter chimed in and added quite a lot of content. So that's several years ago, but he called in and talked us through some of it.
Well, we ought to have him on again because he turned out
2012.
to be a really interesting chap, didn't he?
He's got a couple of talks on the CCC, the Christmas, between Christmas and New Year thing. There are a couple of his talks there. One about how not to run an open source project, which is fascinating.
Okay, have you got some links? Because I'd be interested in seeing those.
I could look for them. Hang on.
Yeah,
Where do we put him?
and it would be good to have him on just to talk about the CCC and what the CCC do, and then possibly just to come back onto the real-time comms bit. You can talk about the rather interesting multimodal communication system they put in for each CCC. So it's GSM, it's DECT, it's VoIP, you name it.
I thought they were
plugged in there.
constrained a bit. I thought they were constrained a bit this year because of something about the regulator not giving them their experimental bands. Or there was some talk about that. It was up and it was down. I don't know if it actually happened this particular year.
I don't know what happened in the end. I mean, they also run this weird DECT network. So you can, if you're not in the room that you want to be in, you can call in and listen to it remotely over DECT phones and various other.
Yeah, and in fact, you don't actually have to be there. You can just get a SIP VoIP account, and then you can get into the event directory, and so you can call up people as they're wandering around the event and talk to them, remote control them.
Yeah, confusingly, that site was the CCC site was blocked by Vodafone and one other, I think, UK carrier during the conference.
Evil Vodafone. That's illegal. Don't do it, Vodafone. Naughty. Come on, Tim, you're supposed to say yes. Agree with me. Put on your stern face.
I'm too busy copy and pasting YouTube links into.
And I'm trying to make them visible in a way that won't compromise.
It's good. Andy's got his stern face on. He's got his Vodafone no face on. Look at that.
Here you go. So present to everyone what we're looking at here. Why isn't that bigger? That's what she said, I know. But
Peter Stooge.
So you can see this pretty well, right? So you see, theoretically, you can even see the URL up here. I don't even know if my pointer is working, but...
That's what she asked.
What is it? What is it about Berlin?
Yeah, that's what she asked. You can look up, you see media.ccc.de, and then you look for Peter Stooge, or however you pronounce that.
Stuga.
Stuga, yeah, you're right.
I think the E is pronounced rather than silent.
Of course, of course.
I found a Stug in Cartagena, but you don't know what. You don't care what a Stug is anyway, do you?
Not necessarily.
No, I'll see if I can find a photograph.
All right, so that's Kamailio World. That's Berlin. Berlin's a great city to visit, and
my two favourite cities are Berlin, because it's Berlin, and Lisbon. The two of them.
Lisbon are great.
Yeah, just wonderful. Sorry, I stopped.
No, that's okay. Your exuberance is noted and welcome.
Well, you know why? I was feeling a little kind of run down after my 3:30 arrival back in Gatwick this morning.
Totally understandable at 3 a.m.
In our little cafe, I bought a whole big bag of Haribo gummy bears, and I scoffed the whole lot. So I'm on
gummy bears. Haven't you had enough gummy bears in Berlin?
Well, Michael's waving his finger around again.
No, he's testing his camera, according
Is he? Oh, I thought he was telling me off for eating gummy bears.
No. So,
You do know that there is a rumor going around that if you eat enough gummy bears, you end up looking like one.
yeah.
Well, it's clearly true.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, how many did you have, Randy? I reckon
well, I didn't have as many as it looked like. When
half of those
you put
empty packets were in fact yours.
No, they weren't. I didn't eat that many.
Yes, they were.
The food was quite good, by the way, at Kamailio.
The food was
but I was going to try to segue into, because we touched base with Alan Quayle on whatever, Com's secret channel. And he was saying, don't make me bring it up, but I guess I could click over there, because he said that they're having this huge, and we'll get on next month, huge, I'm trying to find it now.
Hackathon?
Yeah, no, the TADHack thing, but
TADHack Global.
where is that?
Do you have any idea how big TADHack Global is?
It's huge.
32 satellites, I think he said. Did it not?
32 sites around the world.
I'm trying to find Alan's thing.
That's it's the Trumpish. It's huge.
It's massive.
Alan,
I'll tell you what, we want Major Tim Peake to do a satellite hackathon site from the International Space Station. He seems to have done everything else. In fact, we ought to have Tim Peake on the VUC, shouldn't we? What do you think?
Who?
Live from the eye. You don't know who Tim Peake is?
No, but I found the link for tadhack.com/2016-global. I will just give a quick shot here, because every time I do this, I get like $100. So
Here we go. October 14th to 16th.
I got it right here.
$42,000 prize plot.
Oh!
Plus a huge pile of goodies.
Of course, he usually changes that after you've seen it and talked about
You know, it goes up and down.
It does. Well, that's what she said again.
So
but,
where is Voronezh? Where's that?
I don't know. I do not.
I don't know either. And I thought
That's
well, where else have we got? Funny place called Seattle. That's going to be fun.
lovely.
Clearly somewhere that the British Army haven't invaded recently, James.
Seattle's great. All right, let's give a word to the sponsors. Cisco Spark, Matrix, Telestax, Tropo. What?
Zenid.
No Twilio?
Dinesh, we love you in
All right,
and we're going to come and see you sometime.
Yes, enough of that. Okay, the other thing is, so we've got
The Twilio World. I just want to throw two things out. I encourage everyone to go and read the Twilio S1. It is fascinating. They filed for IPO, and it's a document of some
Fiction?
wonder, and typographical errors. It is claimed that they got their numbers of customers out by a factor of 1,000 in their S1 filing, which is slightly erroneous. And
illegal,
but the
isn't it?
fascinating number is that they spend $42 million a year on R&D and $50 million a year on marketing. I could only, well, it would be fun. I don't know how I'd spend 42 million. I don't know how I'd spend 50 million, but I can imagine that. Spending 42 million on R&D seems quite difficult.
Lots of toys.
Well, and lots of bodies, but bodies doing what? You know, tell me about productivity, right?
Yeah, and you look at their APIs, and they're good, but
Or maybe they're working on a self-driving car. That seems to be popular.
or VR.
You'd need more than
AR.
42 million for that.
VR or
It's like-
AR.
It's really not quite the right number for either of those things. But anyway, it was fascinating. Anyway, it's a fascinating document.
Well, we need to get the guys from Twilio on. In fact, we need to get what's his name?
We're
They
working
won't
on
be able
that.
to talk about any of this stuff.
CEO.
Working on it.
Are we not allowed to talk about it? Why are we
No,
not
we're
allowed?
working.
They won't because they'll be. If they're filing for IPO, they'll
Well,
be.
we're
in
going to
the
talk about that.
period, won't they?
Okay, well, we'll talk about the Lego movie or something like that.
Yeah, well, we're
Yeah,
working on
that'll be it.
getting people on. We need bodies. We need bodies.
Dead or alive?
Warm bodies.
Yeah. Anyway,
Very warm
can
body.
I just go back to the guys who did the video at Kamailio World?
Sure.
Matthias and his
Pascom.
Matthias Pascal of Pascom.
Pascom.net.
No. And their product is, well, it sounds pretty boring, I suppose, but it's kind of hosted PBX stuff. But every now and then, we tend to see something which is just done so well. And if you get into Pascom, Moby Dick, you will find a hosted PBX of extraordinary quality.
You mean this?
This, yes, extraordinary quality. And their attention to detail with their PBX is not akin to it is akin to the level of detail that they put into their video.
There he is.
There he is. There's Matthias himself.
Can I just say?
And you can tell it's in Germany because he's got a dictaphone there.
Let me just say one thing about this that I like. That's really him. I'm so sick of seeing that same woman. She's lovely, but the same VoIP model that you see on every site that does any of this stuff with her headset. You know the one I'm talking about? I know you do.
No, I don't.
Well, you know that you see the same photos, stock photos. That's not a stock photo. That's actually Matthias. Or
it is.
That's him.
So there's two things. I must. They were great, and they rescued me from a complete fail, which was excellent, live, which I'm very grateful for. But the other thing I should say is there's some wonderful stock photos floating around the IoT world of people holding soldering irons incorrectly.
Yeah.
That's just glorious. It's like, people burning their fingers, or would be if the things were switched on.
You mean the one of that bloke who's holding it like a
Oh
pet?
yeah, I've seen
this one, for example.
They all do. Brilliant.
Oh yes.
But that's not the only one. There's like
Shutterstock. No, there's like 10 of them.
Shutterstock.
Oh, that hurts.
Okay, and the one that got me, and I tweeted about it earlier this week, is somebody, I think it was a company in the broadcast space, did this nice marketing picture of their software on a Dell monitor that was about 12 years old. I'm like, if you're going to go to the trouble of mocking up your software on a display, pick something current. Don't pick up something recognizable that's ancient. You might as well put it on a CRT, right?
I feel like we're doing Dig now. Have any of you seen Dig? That's exactly exactly
with Kevin and what's the other Yobby person?
The other person. Anyway, well, that's that.
Is that Jason Carnis or whatever he was called?
He may have been.
No, it's not Jason.
It's not him, but he may have been part of something. Anyway, what else? Other topics. I signaled to Ole, but apparently I haven't.
Well, here's an interesting one. Well, you may not care. This camera is me. You're seeing me, and that's fine. And this is me in real time on a camera directly connected to my computer. This camera is me, except that it's me on a camera connected to a different computer being streamed across the network using a freeware tool from NewTek into video production software in an uncompressed domain, which it's sort of tantamount to saying, well, you can have your own little video production studio without it having to all be on one computer.
Yeah, no, that actually looks pretty good, and it's not not lagging too much.
And
and there it is. Look at that. Look at that.
And that's the amount of lag.
And if you do that right, then you can clap. The two of you can clap. No, not like that. Just do that.
And they're two identical cameras.
And because there's a time delay.
Yeah. Anyhow, in getting this working took the cooperation of two manufacturers because everybody said, oh, it's supposed to work, but it kind of doesn't, or it's very fiddly. And anyway.
Michael, you are just so special. You know that. How many people would have the attention to detail and drive to do something like that?
The very fact that there are manufacturers doing this means people are getting paid to do that.
No, what I mean is taking random bits of equipment and configuring them in ever more complex and bizarre manners to do.
Yeah, well, I call myself an early adopter or adapter, right? I'm adapting to my use.
You're just loving plugging things together, don't you?
Speaking of, I forgot what I was trying to say, but the point is I'm turning the film strip on now because we're not presenting anymore. Oh, yes, had to do with manners.
Oh, so we have to be good.
Yes, don't do anything regarding your nose or anything like that. Here we go. Film strip is on. So now what you see is what the people see. And my plug for the URL has to be raised up because everybody's seen that now. I want everybody to buy one. These t-shirts are so cool. I don't have mine to model. I'll do that next week. Meantime, color. I need a color background. Where's the color? Solid color background.
We got
solid color background.
We haven't got any Sip Vicious hair. Oh, yes, we have. Oh, well, this is the nearest one, I suppose. That one. That one. Because that's, well, it's green.
Not really.
That's not right, is it?
So, guys, I'm going to go and head down to the pub, it being 6 o'clock.
You've already had a beer, Tim.
I know, but it's empty now. Look.
That doesn't qualify as a beer. That's too small.
I was just going to say, that looks tiny.
It's little French Vorspeiser. Anyway.
Okay.
Little French-German beer. Yeah, lovely.
Right, so we'll see you next week.
All right, Tim. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
What happened here?
Bye-bye.
It has to be in front. No, in back. There we go. Right, now.
I'm going to press the random button.
Don't.
Oh, no!
Yeah, well, that's your typical. You've had that before. You'll have it again. All right. Here's where you order these shirts.
Turning this off right away. Off.
I think I got a message from my lovely wife who's on the train or the bus or something. Hello. There we go. What does she have to say? Oh, congratulations. How are you? Didn't hear from you for a long time.
We do know we're still live, don't we?
Yes, we are still live. Because we're among each other.
We're among each other.
Well, that's what they say in
Randy,
French.
you can certainly turn on the charm, Randy, can't you? Yeah, Mrs. B was totally fooled by your.
I want you guys. Yeah, fooled.
Charming persona.
Oh, that's what I do, James.
Yes, you'll be welcome to come.
Years of being on the road. Who's got the echo?
James.
Yeah.
Me? Oh, God.
Oh, James.
Oh.
Echo. Bloody echo. So we're gonna maybe terminate because we can stay private here. Good.
Prattling on for long enough, you say?
Yeah. Well, it's fun, and hopefully people like it. We've kept the same huge audience that we had in the beginning.
Well, all three.
4 now, but there were 5. One of them dropped off. It was probably you checking the feed.
It was me, yeah.
So, folks, next week, James Tagg, I guarantee you this is going to be interesting, and I guarantee you he will have a good image and good audio. We will reschedule for the beam focusing / beam crossing exercise. And in the meantime, I wish you a great weekend, a good Memorial Day, is that right? Yeah, Memorial Day, right? And we will continue on audio with James. We will continue on audio with mature audiences. Thank you, and good night, Mrs. Hannigan, wherever you are.